noticed how the most meaningful professional connections often happen after the main event ends?
You're right, Sophia. While the formal setting is for decisions, the social gathering afterward is where trust is actually built. But it's also where many people feel a bit unsure about what to say next.
That is a common feeling, Mark. And here at Business English for Success, we believe that communication is about more than just being correct. It's about being effective. Moving beyond formal talk can be a new experience for many.
Actually, that's why today we are exploring how to use refined English to build genuine relationships in those after-party moments. We've prepared a few different ways of communicating to help everyone feel more at ease.
The final approach we'll discuss later is particularly polished for anyone looking to connect with experienced professionals. But first, let's see how to break the ice gracefully when you're standing next to a colleague for the first time. Now, let's get into our first scenario. Imagine you're at the social lounge. The formal presentations are over and you find yourself standing near a respected partner.
Most people want to say something impressive here, but often they fall into a level 1 pattern. For example, the event is quite well organized, isn't it?
Well, it's safe, but it's a limited question. It doesn't invite a deeper conversation. Level 2 is slightly better. I'm glad we finally have a moment to connect after that long session. This is polite, but it still feels a bit standard.
So, Sophia, how do we reach level 3? How do we sound like a peer, not just another attendee?
At level 3, we use empathy-based observation. You could say, "It's such a relief to finally let our hair down after that session." To be honest, your perspective on the digital transformation keynote was the highlight of my day. How are you finding the atmosphere tonight?
Oh, that is much more polished. Let's look closer into why this works.
First, the phrase "let our hair down" is a helpful business English idiom. It subtly signals that you are moving from a strictly business mode to a human connection. Second, by mentioning a highlight of my day, you are showing that you value their contribution.
I see. And ending with "how are you finding the atmosphere" is much more elegant than "do you like the party?" It asks for their feelings, not just a yes or no. It builds a bridge, not distance.
Exactly, Mark. Now, let's listen to how this level 3 approach flows in a natural conversation.
It's such a relief to finally let our hair down after that session. To be honest, your perspective on the new market trends was the highlight of my day. How are you finding the atmosphere tonight?
Actually, I feel the same way. It has been quite a productive afternoon. I'm glad that point resonated with you. I was worried it might be too technical. The vibe here is much more pleasant, don't you think?
It truly is. It's the perfect time to share ideas in a more relaxed setting.
What a smooth way to start a relationship. Before we move on, let's practice that key phrase. Listen and repeat after Sophia.
It's such a relief to finally let our hair down after that session.
It's such a relief to finally let our hair down after that session.
Well done. But remember, breaking the ice is only the beginning. The next step is, how do you move from small talk to shared vision in a way that feels natural?
That is a valuable approach that many people overlook. We are going to share a way to discuss passion and purpose that will make your interactions much more memorable. That's coming up in Phase 2.
Welcome back. Now that you've broken the ice, it's time to move the conversation forward. But here is where many professionals hesitate. They don't want to feel like they are interviewing the other person.
You're right, Sophia. Usually people stick to level 1 questions, like, what do you like to do in your free time? It's a bit too personal too soon, and frankly, a bit common.
Exactly. Then there's level 2. What projects are you working on lately? This is safe and professional, but it keeps the conversation strictly about tasks. it doesn't reveal the person's character.
So, how do we elevate this to level 3? How do we ask about their interests without being intrusive?
At level 3, we use a more thoughtful approach. Instead of asking what they do, ask what drives them. You could say, beyond the professional routine, I'm curious. What is a project or an idea that is keeping you inspired lately? I'd love to hear the story behind it.
Oh, that is a beautiful way to put it. Let's look closer into why this level 3 approach is so effective for building relationships.
First, by using the phrase beyond the professional routine, you're acknowledging their hard work while inviting them to share something more meaningful. Second, the word inspired is much more positive and high energy than just talking about being busy.
And by asking for the story behind it, you aren't just looking for facts. You are inviting them to share their journey and their motivation. People enjoy sharing their experiences when they feel the other person is genuinely interested.
Precisely, Mark. It shows you care about the person, not just their job title. Now, let's listen to how this flows in our simulation.
Beyond the professional routine, I'm curious. What is a project or an idea that is keeping you inspired lately? I'd love to hear the story behind it.
Well, that's a refreshing question. Actually, I've been spending some time mentoring young entrepreneurs in my local community. It's not part of my main job, but seeing their fresh perspectives really reminds me of the values that brought me into this industry.
That sounds incredibly rewarding. It's rare to find leaders who invest so much in the next generation. Did you see how that worked? The conversation moved from what I do to what I value. Now it's your turn to practice. Shadowing this phrase will help you sound natural and confident.
What is a project or an idea that is keeping you inspired lately?
What is a project or an idea that is keeping you inspired lately?
Fantastic. You are now building real rapport. But wait, what happens when they share something truly meaningful? How do you respond so they feel you are someone they should stay in touch with?
That is about finding the alignment. In the next part, we will show you how to demonstrate that your values connect with theirs in a way that is both sincere and professional. This is the moment where a casual chat becomes a professional connection.
Once your partner shares their perspective, the goal isn't just to agree. It is to show that you are on the same professional wavelength.
Exactly. A common mistake at level 1 is saying, I agree with you, that's very good. It's a polite comment, but it doesn't add any specific value to the conversation.
And level 2 often sounds like this. I'm glad we share the same opinion. It's important to think that way. While professional, it still feels a bit detached. It lacks a personal connection.
So, Sophia, how do we express a deeper connection at level 3? How do we show that our values actually align with theirs?
At level 3, we use value validation. You could say, it's rare to meet someone who looks at the bigger picture in such a practical way. I feel we have a strong professional connection because we both value long-term growth over immediate results. It's quite refreshing, truly.
Let's look at why this works. Instead of a general compliment, you are identifying a specific shared value, like long-term growth.
Correct. And using the phrase refreshing truly at the end signals that you find their perspective unique. It positions you as an equal, someone who also understands the industry at a high level.
I see. It's less about liking what they said and more about aligning with how they think.
Now, let's hear how this level of alignment sounds in a real interaction.
It's rare to meet someone who looks at the bigger picture in such a practical way. I feel we have a strong professional connection because we both value long-term growth over immediate results. It's quite refreshing, truly.
I couldn't agree more. Most people in our field are so focused on the next quarter that they forget the next decade. It's been a pleasure finding these shared values with you tonight.
These shared values are the starting point for any future partnership. Let's practice the core of this level 3 response.
It's rare to meet someone who looks at the bigger picture in such a practical way.
It's rare to meet someone who looks at the bigger picture in such a practical way.
Now you have established a positive rapport, but as the event winds down, you need to leave the conversation without losing that connection.
Coming up next is the strategic exit. We'll show you how to walk away while leaving a clear, professional path for a follow-up meeting. These final key phrases are helpful for staying in touch effectively. As the evening winds down, how you exit the conversation strongly influences whether the relationship moves forward.
Quite true. A common approach at level 1 is, "I hope to see you again soon." While polite, it is a passive statement that rarely leads to a second meeting.
Level 2 is more direct. "I'll reach out next week to schedule a meeting." This is professional, yet it can feel a bit formal. It lacks the natural flow of a mutual partnership.
Well, Sophia, what is the alternative at level 3? How do we suggest a follow-up that feels like a natural progression?
At level 3, we emphasize the value of the conversation itself. You could say, "It has been a pleasure sharing perspectives with you tonight. I'd value the chance to pick up where we left off on our discussion about sustainable growth, perhaps over coffee next week when our schedules are less demanding. I'll reach out to see what works best for you."
The phrase, "pick up where we left off," is particularly effective. It implies the dialogue is already valuable and simply needs to continue.
Exactly. And by mentioning when our schedules are less demanding, you acknowledge that both of you are experienced professionals. It establishes a sense of equality rather than one person asking for a favor from the other.
It provides a clear path forward without being pushy. Now, let's hear how this high-level exit sounds in practice.
It has been a pleasure sharing perspectives with you tonight. I'd value the chance to pick up where we left off on our discussion about sustainable growth, perhaps over coffee next week when our schedules are less demanding. I'll reach out to see what works best for you.
I would certainly welcome that, Sophia. I think there is much more to explore in that area. I'll look forward to your message.
Wonderful. I'll be in touch. Enjoy the rest of your evening. That transition is what turns a brief encounter into a lasting professional connection. But simply knowing these expressions is only the beginning.
Actually, the most important part is still ahead. To make these key phrases sound like your own, you need to refine the rhythm and the confidence behind them. In a few moments, we will begin our shadowing intensive session. We are going to bring all 4 level 3 phrases together into one seamless flow.
If you want to be ready to use these advanced techniques naturally at your next event, stay with us. This next section is where your practice truly pays off. Now it's time to put everything into practice. We're going to go through the 4 level 3 phrases we've discussed. Mark and I will help you master the rhythm.
That's right. Sophia will lead with the phrase, and I will repeat it right after her. Please try to speak out loud with us. It's all about building that muscle memory.
Let's start with the icebreaker. It's such a relief to finally let our hair down after that session.
It's such a relief to finally let our hair down after that session.
Well done. I love the way you captured the relaxed tone there, Mark. Next, let's move to the vision question. What is a project or an idea that is actually getting you inspired lately?
What is a project or an idea that is actually getting you inspired lately?
Perfect. Notice how Mark emphasized the word inspired. It makes such a difference. Now, let's try the alignment phrase. It's rare to meet someone who looks at the bigger picture in such a practical way.
It's rare to meet someone who looks at the bigger picture in such a practical way.
Excellent. That sounds very professional. Finally, let's practice the strategic exit. I'd value the chance to pick up where we left off, perhaps over coffee next week when our schedules are less demanding.
I'd value the chance to pick up where we left off, perhaps over coffee next week when our schedules are less demanding.
You've got it. Using these phrases with confidence will truly change the way you connect with others.
It's amazing how a few well-chosen words can open so many doors in your professional journey.
It really is, Mark. Thank you for practicing with us today. If you found these techniques helpful for your career, feel free to join us in the next session here at Business English for Success.
We look forward to seeing your progress. Until next time, keep practicing and stay confident.
Goodbye for now.
See you soon.